In the afternoon of March 11th, 2011, local time, a massive 8.9 magnitude earthquake struck off the coast of Japan. After the earthquake struck, it produced a massive tsunami that ravaged Japan. Not only was the tsunami felt in Japan, but it was felt across the entire Pacific Ocean. What I've put together is a video compilation from satellite backhaul feeds, local television stations, and the internet, detailing some of the effects that the tsunami had on Japan and around the world.
I'm Nick Gowing. Welcome to The Hub. Almost as bad as the worst-case quake that Japan has long prepared for. How are Japan and all countries around the whole Pacific Rim coping with this giant emergency? Well, the 8.9 strength quake struck off the northeast coast, close to the city of Sendai. In the middle of the afternoon, the huge seismic shift of the sea floor there generated enormous tsunami waves, some up to 10 meters high. They crashed into Japan's northeastern coastal areas and further south. The Prime Minister says waves and tremors mean large swathes of northern Japan are devastated.
The waves of muddy water broke over embankments, taking everything with them. And then they went into reverse, sweeping debris back out towards the sea. Here a boat in a harbour finds itself tossed about in a whirlpool created by the earthquake. The moment the earthquake struck, 2:46 in the afternoon, local time in Japan. This is the local government office in the city of Sendai. This the offices of Japan's public broadcaster in the same city. In this supermarket, staff even try in vain to prevent items falling off the shelves. There were several powerful aftershocks within the hour. An oil refinery burns out of control just outside the capital. Other refineries have been shut down. Countless fires have been triggered by the earthquake. As yet, no one's even begun to assess the economic cost of the disaster.
That announcement you can hear is saying that Japan Railways is not going to be running any more services in Tokyo for the rest of the day. Now you can see in this square many thousands of people. This is a big city, but it's not normally like this. These people came down from their offices when the earthquake hit and they've been standing around here. Many of them are watching a giant TV screen. At the moment it's showing scenes from Tokyo, but it has been showing the tsunami that hit in the north of the country. The images of the water and the mud and the debris sweeping across fields and carrying houses and cars as it went.
Like crazy. I got to the fire escape, and of course the whole building was shaking like crazy by that time, and other people were trying to exit the building as well. And by the time we got to the street, everybody was, they had their hands over the top of their heads, wondering if things were going to be falling or what was going on. Where I live right now, yes, we do have electricity and I do have heat. We do know, however, that there are many homes and that there are many people without both electricity and heat. And there are many people who can't even get home tonight because the taxis are all crowded and the trains and the subways have all stopped running. So many people are kind of stranded out there tonight. I was in the Great Hanshin earthquake, the one that hit Kobe a few years back, and that was scary. But this was beyond scary. This was the scariest thing I've ever experienced in my life. I'm still trembling a bit.
Yeah, Suzanne, this is something that has consumed the president since very early this morning. We're told by White House aides he was woken up about 4 a.m. Eastern time by his chief of staff, Bill Daley. He's been getting briefings and information about it, but you're right, he also about 10:15 a.m. Eastern time reached out by phone to the Prime Minister Khan of Japan, to consult and offer any U.S. help needed.
3 northeastern prefecture police say at least 78 people are dead. In Fukushima, a local fire department says a welfare facility collapsed, killing 5 people and leaving several more missing. In Tokyo and 3 neighboring prefectures, 17 people are reported to have died. Local police also reports that many people are dead or missing in the Pacific coastal areas of northeastern Japan. In some districts, it is reported that most houses have been swept away. According to the police, more than 200 and possibly up to 300 drowned bodies have been found in the coastal areas of Sendai City. In Kesenuma City, several hundred people have evacuated to a local school. 1/3 of the school's gym is submerged, and people are staying on the 3rd floor of the school building. Police say an unknown number of people are missing in many cities where tsunami waves up to 7 meters tall swept through low-lying coastal areas. An NHK helicopter has captured images of an oil refinery in Chiba Prefecture near Tokyo on fire. A gas leak reportedly triggered an explosion, as we have reported earlier. Black smoke can be seen billowing from the refinery.
At the same time, we're hearing countless reports of many villages as well as other smaller cities entirely engulfed by mud and water. We've seen a lot of reports in the recent hours of school children caught on rooftops, of collapsed buildings. At the same time, we're hearing of staff in hospitals waving flags and waving banners urging for food and aid. A lot of aid agencies, such as the Red Cross, have flown their people in and around the disaster sites to assess the damage. In the next few hours, we understand a lot of relief crews are trying to open the roads into these areas to bring the relief to those still trapped in and around the disaster zones. They've already budgeted a special budget at this point for emergency relief. They're also, we understand, discussing with about 45 countries whether to send in extra relief teams into Japan to help out in the next upcoming days. It will be utmost of importance in terms of coordination, how this entire relief effort is being coordinated. But at this point, it's a mad scramble in and around Tokyo. Just outside this airport, we've heard of mayhem, not only on the expressways, which are still closed, but also on a lot of the small roads as people try to get still back to their homes. Many people were trapped overnight in Tokyo City itself because public transit was shut off.
Well, as we said, it's nearly 24 hours now since the earthquake struck Japan. Residents along South America's west coast are being moved to higher ground as a precaution against a possible tsunami. Chilean officials ordered the evacuation of all coastal areas, including Talcahuano, one of the ports devastated by a tsunami last year. And in Peru, schools and tourist attractions were shut down. All the country's ports were also closed until further notice.
The death toll from the catastrophic earthquake in Japan has surpassed 400, with hundreds more missing. There are fears the death toll could rise to more than 1,000, as some areas suffered devastating damage.
Higher waves were felt as far away as Hawaii, but have not caused damage. The tremor also rocked buildings in the capital Tokyo and shut down the subway system. Reports say a passenger train in the city has also gone missing. But most concerns are now mounting about the safety of 3 nuclear power plants that were in the affected area. The government has begun evacuating residents from within a 10-kilometre zone of a nuclear plant in Fukushima. Tsunami warnings are still in effect for parts of the country's coastline, making it difficult for search teams to access some of the worst affected areas. Scientists said Friday's quake was the 5th most powerful to hit the world in the past century and the strongest ever in Japan.
To help, though, are we talking about millions of dollars in aid? Are we talking about making food drops? What could that entail, whatever kind of aid that we would be giving to our allies in Japan?
Yes, well, we'll determine what the damages are, and from there see where the assistance can come from our federal government as well. So we'll be watching that and monitoring it until all clear is given.
Senator Kaka, we can't thank you enough for calling in to voice your words of condolence to those in Japan and also for everyone here at home.
Good morning, Eric. Yeah, the Great Highway is closed. Ocean Beach is closed. Look at the water, though. It doesn't look very different from a typical Friday morning. I understand, though, the vantage point's even better from our Sutro camera, so let's go ahead and show you that picture so you can get a sense of what it looks like out here. It's very quiet. It's odd to have the road closed and the beach closed. There's a lot of police out here. They've been out here all night long. They've had a constant presence. They've been communicating with the experts who are watching the ocean, and they've been reassessing the situation every 30 minutes.
I wanted to know, as far as the evacuation process there and what you did early this morning, late last night, can you tell us, how was that managed? Did most people leave their homes? Did you have problems with that?
sweeping debris back out towards the sea. Here a boat in a harbour.
In the Kona area, that people were actually running away from the wave when they saw it, and that the water actually went into some businesses on the shoreline there. Are you hearing any word of businesses or homes being flooded because of these waves on the shorelines of Maui County?
Dramatic impact of these tidal changes. Now, as we take a look at this, you can see here, looks somewhat calm, but it will proceed to show the water just surging in, rushing there, a surge of 5 to 8 feet. Now, the water level would go up all the way into the harbor, almost up to the top of a concrete slab. This all unfolding about over a minute's time, we're told, flowing out and then going down another 8 feet. So a dramatic turn of events on both ends of the spectrum.
The tsunami isn't over yet. We are still seeing surges this evening, mainly because the way the harbor entrance funnels the water, it helps the tsunami waves gather strength as they rush in. Take a look at some of the tsunami action we saw today. We would see the boats in the harbor start shaking, sometimes violently, as the waves swept in. Again, normally there is virtually no wave action. Today, lots of what boat owners called scary energy. Some boats that got loose made for some mind-boggling images. As you can see from this view from News Chopper 2, crews were frantically trying to stabilize and tow capsized boats and trying to separate boats that had drifted and in some cases smashed into each other. People told us they wanted to help, but instead watched helplessly.